So they put a ban on oil from Russia. So again, you know this is all about energy, right? This is all about imperialism, hegemony, American hegemony. And there's a pipeline involved, the Nord Stream 2. And so we want to sell our liquefied natural gas over to Europe instead of letting Russia sell it to Europe. Because Russia already sells 30% of the energy to Europe. And that's a little bit too much power and makes us nervous. So we're expanding NATO, and we're overthrowing governments in Ukraine. We're getting in bed with neo-Nazis, all for what? And what is NATO for anymore? As Chomsky told us, NATO is only there to secure energy transfers, the energy shipping lanes and stuff like that. So, again, if you're getting your information about this Ukraine from the corporate news, you don't know what's going on. You're being propagandized at a nuclear level. So so now Joe Biden is banning gas from Russia. And here's Larry Summers. Now, if you don't know who Larry Summers is, he's a guy who ruined the country. And the presidents won't stop listening to him. So it was his big idea, deregulate Wall Street, do all that stuff, and then they crashed the economy within 10 years. And nothing happened to him. He's still a billionaire or a millionaire. And so now here's what Max Blumenthal tweeted out. Larry Summers, who presided over the demolition and plundering of Russia's economy in the 90s and pushed policies that led to the United States financial crash, I just told you, he says that Americans need to suffer higher gas and food prices and inflation as the price of fighting tyranny. Wait a minute. So now we all have to tighten our belts to help fight Russia? What is this? Russia?
Like Cuba.
What? Go ahead.
So it's like Cuba. Like, what do we embargo ourselves?
Yeah, no kidding. Here we go.
I worry slightly, Fareed, when I hear us protest a bit too vigorously that this isn't going to interfere with gasoline prices too much, because I think ultimately if the price of combating tyranny is a period of much higher gas prices, that's a price we need to be prepared to pay as a country.
So we shouldn't pay higher gas prices to fight global climate change, but wow, we should pay higher prices for gas to fight tyranny in a place I don't live.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So we shouldn't do it to fight climate change, which affects me directly where I live. But we should do it to fight some kind of vague tyranny in another country that I'm not a part of. Or okay, here we go.
I think we'll get there if we need to. Inflation's a serious problem. This will make it worse. But
it's not really going to affect rich people like me. It's going to certainly crush the working poor and make it harder for everybody else who's blue collar or actually doesn't have any. 80% of workers live paycheck to paycheck. You know that. So it's going to hurt them. It's not going to hurt him. But he says we should still do it. So to fight tyranny? But we do take oil from Saudi Arabia, right? Okay.
World order is much more fundamental and much more important than an extra percentage point or an extra 3 percentage point on the CPI over some interval. So let's have our priorities straight. Historians 50 years from now.
So our priorities should be straight. Our priorities is to pretend that what's happening in Ukraine isn't a result of a 2014 coup that we helped institute and then got in bed with neo-Nazis. And it was the result of constant shelling from the neo-Nazis to the people in the eastern Ukraine called the Donbass. And also Nord Stream pipeline, which is going to take liquefied natural gas from Russia straight to Germany. So there's all these reasons. But we're doing it because we care about people and fighting tyranny. They do it with a straight face. These people are psychopaths. Larry Summers is a psychopath.
I remember the events of this week in Ukraine. They will not remember the inflation statistics over the next 6 months.
Right. Tell that to someone who already can't afford their medicine. Tell that to somebody who already can't afford their rent or their car payment or their gas bill. Tell that to somebody. Okay.
I think he just did.
Yeah, he just did.
That, like,
he's like, I don't give a shit. Shit's going to cost way more. Get used to it. Why? Because the people who run global capital want you to pay the price so they can make a bigger profit selling liquid gas to Europe. That's why. Here's George Takei. George Takei, one of my least favorite of shit libs. He says, Americans, we can endure higher prices for food and gas if it means putting the screws to Putin. When you say we can endure, again, George Takei, you're super wealthy. I'm sure you're a millionaire, and it's not going to affect you. Consider it a patriotic donation in the fight for freedom over tyranny. Are you at... Yeah, well, I get why Sulu feels that way. Russia hacked him and made him sexually harass a guy. So that's why he's angry at Russia.
Jimmy, that's like where you said let them buy cake. That's like let them give up cake.
Yes.
That's the next level.
That's what that is. Hey, we got more dates for our 2022 stand-up tour. We're going everywhere. We're going to Dallas, Houston, Florida. We're going to Omaha, Des Moines, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Ohio, and Los Angeles. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all the tickets for all our shows.